Grenada, the stage is set. Brilliant minds, fresh perspectives. It's more than competition. It's confidence, creativity, and critical thinking in action. The Grenlec debates, powering bright ideas.
Welcome to the 2025 Grenlec debates. I am your host, Ambrosia Charles, and it's a pleasure to guide you through the second round of the competition, the round of 16. The competition is in full swing, and the debates are getting even more exciting. The theme we're exploring for this round is artificial intelligence in the educational sphere. Those students have had time to research the broad theme. Remember, these debates are impromptu. The motions are drawn today, and teams are given just 30 minutes to prepare without the help of their teachers and coaches. The energy is high, the arguments are ready, so let's get right into it. This debate brings together the Anglican High School and Grenville Secondary School. The motion is, be it resolved that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking.
A pleasant good afternoon, judges, audience, and worthy opponents. My team and I firmly agree with the moot that be it resolved relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills. As you know, the first speaker will define key terms in the moot, and then my second speaker will further prove our stance by elaborating on two more points. Then my rebuttal speaker and POI speakers will break down my opponent's arguments. According to criticalthinking.org, AI is defined as computers and machines that can reason, learn, and act in such a way that would normally require human intelligence. Critical thinking is the ability to analyze information objectively and make reasoned judgment by evaluating secure argument evidence. Homework, a school task for a student to do at home, to carry out proper research into something. For my first point, it weakens critical thinking skills and robs the practice they get from homework. Relying too much on AI to complete the students' homeworks makes them lazy and ruins their critical thinking skills. For example, imagine you didn't know how to tie your shoelace, and someone came and tied it for you, but you became so reliant on that person, you forgot to learn it yourself. Judges, imagine the shoelace was replaced with homework. Can you see how relying on AI weakens their critical thinking skills? Evidence from Nicholas Anderson from Ohio State in 2024 states that over-reliance on AI undermines students' ability to think and develop patience and the experience they need. Audience, what I am saying by this is relying on AI to complete homework robs students from the critical thinking skills, and which is why I'll continue to agree with the moot that be resolved that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills and robs the experience they need to get better at school. I thank you for listening. I will now hand it over to my teammate, Aidan, who will further elaborate on my point.
Honorable Chair, esteemed judges, dear audience, worthy opponents, a pleasant day to all. My team and I stand in firm opposition to the motion, be it resolved, that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills. As first speaker, I will outline two strong cutting point arguments in favor of my team stance, of which my second speaker will further solidify our argument with three irrefutable points. POI will follow, after which my rebuttal speaker will cascade all fallacious claims made by the proposition. Honorable Chair, before we even begin this debate, we must ground ourselves in the language of the motion. The following the definitions of relying, weakens, and complete are according to the Oxford Dictionary. However, critical thinking is according to Britannica.com. Relying, dependence on or trust in something or someone. Weakens, to become weaker. Complete, to finish a task or a piece of work. Critical thinking, the ability of one to create, analyze, and put forward ideas. Contention number 1. Reliance is essential for learning. Judges, students naturally rely on teachers for guidance, frameworks, and feedback. This reliance supports students as they learn to think independently and creatively. AI is the same. Over-reliance, however, bypasses the thinking process entirely, leaving students with less opportunity to develop independent ideas. Evidence from Digital Education Council shows that over 50% of students feel that over-reliance on AI, not reliance itself, harms learning. This shows that dependence can be beneficial, but allowing AI to do the thinking diminishes critical thinking skills. Contention number 2. Over-reliance undermines critical thinking. Critical thinking develops when students engage with ideas, evaluate points, and make decisions for themselves. Over-reliance on AI can weaken critical thinking as students may accept outputs without questioning. A quote from Amanda Claiborne, Dean of Undergraduate Education at Harvard, reads, and I quote, "AI is a powerful tool in the hands of someone who knows how to evaluate its work, and that means someone who knows how to do that work themselves." End quote. In addition, MIT's Media Lab found heavy reliance on AI lead to weaker engagement and formulaic essays. This evidence shows that over-reliance, not reliance, diminishes critical thinking and originality. I thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, worthy opponents, and attentive audience. My team and I firmly agrees with the move. Be it resolved that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills. One of the reasons why my team and I believe that the use of AI to complete homework would weaken students' critical thinking skills is academic integrity. AI use blurs authorship and undermines originality. What I mean by this is, using AI in homework reduces critical thinking by giving students direct answers instead of allowing them to engage and understand their work. This process of students doing homework with the use of AI stops them doing their own original work and just taking answers from online. An article from NDPI states AI's internal cognitive abilities may atrophy, leading to diminished long-term memory and cognitive thinking skills. Secondly, over-reliance on algorithms. AI may oversimplify learning or misinterpret students' needs. What I mean by this is, when students use AI, they copy what they see. So if or when AI gives misinformation, they are not able to understand what is wrong. This is reducing critical thinking because they copy everything without questioning. Is this correct? Or do I understand this information? A blog from Ultimate Proofreader states, many individuals now bypass the process of critical thinking and personal engagement because of the use of AI. Judges, don't you think all this proves that using AI to do homework will weaken critical thinking skills? This is why my team and I firmly agrees with the move. Be it resolved that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills.
Good afternoon, all. My team and I disapprove the moot. Be it resolved that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills. As the second speaker, I will outline key terms to support my team's stance. Contention number 1. The proposition argued that artificial intelligence reliance for homework reduces critical thinking skills in students. However, AI can enhance and expand creative possibility when used as a supportive tool for brainstorming, generating prompts, or offering suggestions. It expands creative possibilities rather than reducing critical thinking. The University of Exeter found that AI-assisted writing boosts creativity. This indicates that AI enhances creativity. The problem only arises when students default to AI for complete suggestion, skipping the cognitive effort. Contention number 2. No, the proposition may argue that artificial intelligence removes originality and introduces plagiarism. Students can safely rely on AI as long as they maintain control over the proceeds. Teaching proper, balanced AI use prevents over-reliance and preserves originality, while still benefiting from the AI tools. Therefore, over-reliance is actually the problem, not mere reliance to aid in the completion of the student's homework. Stanford's SCALE initiative found students who use AI responsively improve learning outcomes, while those who over-relied had lower critical thinking skills. This demonstrates that reliance does not reduce critical thinking, over-reliance does. Contention number 3. Artificial intelligence is a tool, not a replacement. AI is here to enhance and bring out creativity while providing personalized learning systems for students. A study showed that 23 out of 37 students in a classroom showed higher academic achievement in schools after using AI to help and aid in the completion of their homework. Judges, this is crucial evidence that proves our team's stance on this moot. Artificial intelligence does not reduce critical thinking skills while aiding students in the completion of their homework. In conclusion, we urge you to reject the proposition stance that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills. Instead, AI can enhance and expand creative possibility. Over-reliance on AI is where the problem begins, and artificial intelligence is a tool, not a replacement. I thank you.
As your first speaker stated, and I quote, relying too much, end quote, weakens critical thinking skills. So would you say that over-reliance is the issue and not reliance itself?
My worthy opponents, yes, but students tend to over-rely because when we have information at our disposal, we tend to not want to do work, but instead just take what we get.
So you would say it's over-reliance that's the issue?
Not necessarily. It can depend on what type of students that are engaging with AI.
Thank you, my worthy opponent. What empirical evidence do you have to show that students copy everything without thinking?
My worthy opponents, what exactly do you mean by empirical evidence?
My worthy opponent, your second speaker, in his speech stated that students copy everything without thinking.
My worthy opponent.
My worthy opponent, the evidence is taken from a OECD study.
Thank you, my worthy opponent.
Can you agree that there are AIs such as Gizmo and Nano Banana that have created learning programs that develop students' critical thinking?
Yes, my worthy opponents. However, we are debating that relying on AI to complete homework weakens students' critical thinking skills.
My worthy opponent, over-reliance or reliance?
As my colleague here stated, that when students get information, they tend to overlook it, and depending on the student, they can become over-reliant on it.
So that's over-reliance, not reliance. So you're stating that over-reliance is the issue, not reliance.
No, he just tried to emphasize the point on that students in general may become over-reliant on it.
Thank you, my worthy opponent.
If AI solely weakens critical thinking, then why is CXC encouraging its use in SPAs?
My worthy opponent. My worthy opponents, do students know how to use AI to aid them instead of over-relying on it?
My worthy opponent, it is up to the student and the schools to properly teach and educate students on how to effectively and ethically use AI.
Thank you. My worthy opponents, if students have such vast amounts of information they're just sitting around, don't you think that they would prefer to take it instead of thinking about it or understanding it?
My worthy opponent, again, it is up to the student to ethically use AI.
My worthy opponent, how do you know that the student can ethically use the AI?
Well, as long as proper programs and education is implemented on AI use, then I would believe that students would be properly educated on the use of AI.
So you are assuming.
No, my worthy opponent, I am stating that if policies are put in place to properly educate students on how to use AI before it is used, then I would assume that they would properly use it if they are educated on how to properly use it.
And how can you be so sure that they will implement these things for the students to use AI ethically?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't quite get that.
How are you so sure that right and ethical policies are integrated into the school for the students to use AI ethically?
My worthy opponent, we're not saying that the policies are implemented now. We're saying that it could be implemented and it can be implemented to properly show how to use AI to allocate for our homework and studies.
Yes, my worthy opponent, but as of now, don't students just use AI in general to complete most assignments, especially homework?
Good afternoon, all. My team and I disagree with the moot. Therefore, I, as rebuttal speaker, will refute all fallacious claims proposed by the proposition. The proposition stated that relying on AI reduces a student's critical thinking skills, making them lazy. Opponent, I believe over-reliance reduces critical thinking skills. My opponent also gave an example of reliance. So judges, I will bring forth my own. Imagine, I rely on my mother to buy books with her money. But the problem only arises when I start to over-rely on my mother, and that actually causes me to become lazy and irresponsible. Audience, relying on AI to aid in the completion of homework isn't what my opponent exaggerated to be. The proposition further argued that relying on AI diminishes originality, but opponent, artificial intelligence is not responsible for a student's irresponsibility, as it gives warnings, which is unknown to my opponents, that the information may not always be correct, and it solely relies on data already published by humans. As my second speaker stated, AI can enhance, and teaching students about AI use cancels out my opponent's claim. Artificial intelligence is just an aid to a student. Next, my opponent, you seem to be confused. You argue that the over-reliance on AI diminishes creative thinking skills, but at the same time, you argue that it is reliance. You're confusing yourself along with the audience and the judges. We argue that it is over-reliance that causes the lack in critical thinking skills, not simple reliance. They argue that students will use AI irresponsibility, but they gave no empirical evidence to back the claim up. Judges, is this a factual claim, or is this just a baseless claim? I thank you.
The argument presented by my opponents may sound strong on the surface, but once you dig deeper, it falls apart completely. Protocols have already been established. Good afternoon to all. My worthy opponents, your first speaker simply agreed with my team's stance by giving us evidence on why relying on AI can weaken critical thinking skills. Secondly, she stated in her definition for relying that it means depending on something, which further proves how it weakens critical thinking skills, considering that depending on something when it relates to schoolwork means that you don't think about it. Think about the answer or critically think. Reliance is essential for learning, but relying on teachers and AI is completely different. A teacher is there to teach and bring forth the knowledge they learned upon you. Keyword, they learned, they didn't rely. Your second speaker stated that AI is a supportive tool for brainstorming, But how can it be a supportive tool when students just take the answers and write it down without a thought in their mind? Your Q&A speaker said that policies are meant to be implemented for ethical use. Don't you think that students as of right now are relying on AI to complete their homework? The opposition says it's an invalid example of relying on AI and of relying on their mother to provide money. But isn't that the mother's responsibility? The responsibility of AI is not to give you the answers. You are supposed to critically think and get them yourself. Judges, don't you think all this proves that using AI to do your homework will weaken critical thinking skills? This is why my team and I firmly agree with the moot. I thank you.
And the winner is the Anglican High School. Another round of powerful arguments and sharp perspectives. Thank you for sharing this journey with us, and stay tuned. There's much more to come in the 2025 Grenlec debate.
Grenada, the stage is set. Brilliant minds, fresh perspectives. It's more than competition. It's confidence, creativity, and critical thinking in action. The Grenlec debates, powering bright ideas.